G'day, Chris Pickett from Vee Two Australia. I'm back with Project 860. We've stripped the bike right down. The engine's still together, so we haven't done that yet. But we need to make a bit of a decision on where we're going to go with this bike from here. As I sort of mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say indecision, but certainly a couple of the guys here have got a few different ideas. I mean, my idea really is to make it a reasonably stock bike, but we want to modify it a little bit. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but you don't know the history of it. You need to really check out whether the frame is straight and whether it's been mucked around with. You know, hopefully you would have done this before, but as I said, people like to buy these sorts of bikes off the internet, so they might see a photo of the frame number and so on, but you know, if you bought it from the other side of the world and it rocks up, or the other side of the country, photos can hide a lot of you know, poor repairs or dodgy restamping of frame numbers and so on. Not so much with a bike like this because it's just an 860, yeah? But if you're talking people turning a 750 GT into a 750 Sport for an extra 20 or 30 grand, or, you know, fakery, then you really need to if you're paying serious money, you really need to do the research. And if you don't know, get someone who does know to hopefully have a look at it for you. But some telltale things to look at to make sure this has never been in an accident for a start and the frame's twisted or bent or whatever. First place really to look is around the headstock and see if there's cracked paint or evidence of poor repairs, poor welding. Also around the rear here, you know, you've really got to take your time and have a good look. You can take some datum points and measure to see whether you think it's square or not. But, you know, visually you can see a lot really to work out whether you want to go further with this frame or whether it needs repairs for a start. And there's not really that many people still around repairing frames, but let's just say this is good. Now, we need to make a decision on, do we paint it or do we undercoat it? Paint it, undercoat it. Well, of course you've got to undercoat it if you're going to paint it. Or, sorry, paint it or powder coat it. Now, some people love, you know, paint. Some people love powder coat. You get stories either way. I tend to prefer powder coating. I've always had good results or good experiences with powder coating. And look, for a thing like this, we could paint it in-house, but then you have to weigh up. Righto, we can't sandblast it here. We don't have the facilities, so we've got to drive an hour to get it sandblasted and primed. Come back, you know, get paint, do it, and so on. When you look at all the cost versus benefit analysis here, is it just better off for us just to go to our powder coater, which is 2 or 3 hours away, but that's okay. Take it up there and just get it done, because we need to get some other stuff done as well. Just get it all done at the same time. I'd be interested to see what you people think. You know, I think powder coating is pretty hard wearing. The guy that does a bit of painting for us reckons he'd rather paint it. I don't know. Now, you could rub back this paint, but really, if you're going to go to all this trouble, it should be just taken back to bare metal, I believe. So tell us what you think, and we'll either listen to you or we won't. But we need to make a bit of a decision. And it's not just about the money. Like, I think probably getting something like this powder coated could be anywhere between $750 to $1,000, depending. But if you got it painted professionally, you'd be up for that anyway, at least $1,000. So we'll see. Oh, because that also entails the center stand plus the swing arm, which we're not going to use this swing arm, because if you look here, that is for a disc brake rear. That holds the, I guess, well, for want of a bit of a term, the triangle alloy bracket that locates, or part of the location, or it's the bracket for the rear caliper. So if we go drum brake on this, which we're going to talk about, then we'll have to change the swing arm. That's okay. also with things like that, we'll have new steering head bearings in it. We'll probably put a new bush in the swing arm and just check all that part out there for the pivot. And yeah, so we've looked at the frame, we've checked it out, we think it's good. So now the decision really is, as I said, paint or powder coat. And that's for these as well. So let's get on to a few of the other parts. Now, for the whole look of the bike, I wanted something that's a bit leery, but not. It's a bit of a, I don't know. I'd like to have some nice metallic paint, and I want it to stand out, but I want it to be a bit of a, I don't know, a gentleman's express as well. So when we come to the look of the bike, now I've done a drawing here. Yes, hang on. It's not a 900, it's an 860 because it's got a stator plate ignition. Right, so of course it looks like I've been back in school, but anyway, besides that, they're the three colours I've got that I'm interested in. Blue is what the bike was originally. You can see that because it's got blue underneath the tank, but orange and green. And instead of being blue and silver, or orange and silver, or green and silver, I think it would be a good idea to have, I'm steering away from the blue, but a good idea to have a two-tone. So a nice orange metallic with a darker orange stripe. A bit subtle, you know? Anyway.
How did Chris say? Why don't you try that instead?
Yeah, that's a bit crap. Righto. Aha. Now, this is like a 750 sport style thing, but John Keogh has done this, and he's a well-known an artist, designer. So we go, righto, do we go modern wheels, modern forks? We wouldn't have that sort of seat on it, but you get the idea. You know, you can modernise it that way. I like that idea, but after this bike, we're going to build a Dharma, and I think it's going to be a real hot rod, so it might have that style. But anyway, forgive my kindergarten drawing. That's what I'd like to present, but in a GT or GTS style. So, yeah, righto. So, get rid of them. The look of it. We've already talked about the colours. Let us know what you think. I don't want to use chrome guards. I never really liked them. When we build the Dharma later, I'm going to paint the guards. So I'm thinking the guards, front and rear guards, should be the same colour as the bike. And even the stripe down the guards, the ghost stripe, that'd be good. Now, this sort of stuff here. Now, when we talked about powder coating earlier, you talk about the triple clamps. They're like a textured powder coat, so we have to get that done that way, and that's what we prefer. And you have some, they're the forks that we pulled off the bike. Now, we can polish those. Do I have another set of forks here? I'll be back. Here we go. Right. So you can get the forks powder coated the same texture as that. Now, I reckon that would look really cool. So that's what I'm aiming for. So when if we get it all powder coated, the frame will go up gloss black, the fork legs and the triple clamps in that textured black colour. It's hard wearing, and I reckon it looks cool. So, righto, let's get on to the wheels. Right, now it's time to have a look at what wheels we're going to run on this bike. As I said, we want it to be a little bit special. So option one would be to use the later model Ducati bevel wheels that were on it when we pulled it apart, but I don't want to do that because they aren't the right wheels for the bike. And yeah, we want to run a drum rear. I'd like to run a drum rear. With a drum rear and a disc front, the 860 GTSs, they break really good. So I'd prefer to do that. So I didn't really want to run that. So let's, option one, gone. Option two, right. Now this is, I don't know what brand, it could be Dimag, I'm not sure, but it's a magnesium wheel, very light. They come off a bevel that we wrecked here some time ago. They look cool. The issue is with these older magnesium wheels is that really, for safety-wise, we need to get them X-rayed. I'm no metallurgist, but I think they corrode and whatnot. So we need to get them checked out by some expert. How hard is that going to be? Who knows? So we've got to make a decision on that. Right, option 3. Now, these are a set of wheels that are laced up. They're wider than standard, but they're 17-inch. So, and this is for a disc brake rear anyway. So we'd have to, if we're going to do that, we'd have to run a disc on the rear. Now, if you come in and have a look, these are being modified with sealant so that we can run tubeless tyres on this. So they would look cool, no doubt about that. Right, option 4 and 5, we don't have them here, but option 4 is to get a set of the original wheels that you could get with a bike, which were basically spoke wheels but with heavy steel rims. Cut all the spokes out, get new spokes, and lace up a little bit wider alloy wheels on the original style hubs. That's option 4, which is pretty cool. Option 5, we've got a set, we believe they're Morris mag wheels. They're still in a bike, so you'll see a bit of a photo of them in the video. And they're really cool, and it's drum brake rear, and I really like them. I've never seen a pair of them on a bevel anywhere. So that is option 5, and I think that might be the option we're going to take. But anyway, let us know, like the colour, let us know what you think. Really, we're open to any suggestions. Whether we listen, that's another matter, but let us know what you think. Now, one of the goals of this build is to make this bike a better version of itself. Now, we want it to go better, we want it to handle better. So we've got the go better done easy, right? The handle better, we'll modify the forks, and you'll see that down the track. We'll put some good rear shocks on it. But we want to sort of reduce the weight a bit too. And this is the idea of going lightweight wheels, as light as we can, because it does make a difference in how, if you've got a less unsprung weight, it'll make the bike steer easier, handle better, just easier on everyone. So that is one way, we can reduce weight by drilling holes everywhere, but, obviously that's, not the ideal way to go. So, yeah, so we'll look at that a bit further down the track, and we might even weigh some of these things with an original set of wheels and the ones we choose to see how much weight you can save. One thing that you've got to really worry about on a project like this is project creep. Now, no, it doesn't mean you're some sort of weirdo. It's about the goalpost continually being moved. You need to have a plan and stick to it. Now, you remember we went through 5 different wheel options for this motorcycle, and our illustrious leader keeps going, oh yeah, we're going to run these. So you go, oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that sounds great. We're going to run these. Well, guess what? He then trotted these wheels out, which you call option 6, I guess. We didn't even see these before. I didn't even know he had them. But these are the wheels we're going to run. Now, I did say we're not going to run mags or the original style mags, but these are lightweight Mavic wheels made for Campagnola, however you pronounce it, I don't know. Campags, anyway. So these are lightweight. Are they magnesium? Probably, I'm not sure, but they look amazing. So we decided we're going to run a disc brake rear. So, and these are disc brake wheels. Now, these wheels are a bit of an oddball size. They're a 2.3-inch front and a 3.25-inch rear. They're 18-inch, and these bikes were specifically bought for our Mike Hayward checkered flag bike. And these are the same size wheels that were run by Mike Hayward on his race bike when he went back to the Isle of Man in 1978 and won. Exactly the same wheels. But these ones are lightweight, but the same sizes. Now, if you look at the colour too, like this is also dictated, has forced a bit of a change in direction on the colour scheme because these are so beautiful, you can't paint them. You can't powder coat them. They have to be gold. So that's going to dictate, as I said, a bit of a change. We're not sure exactly how we're going to do that yet, but these are the wheels that are going to be on this motorcycle. And I tell you what, they would get a jellyfish hard. Righto, tank. We've all talked about the front and rear guards. Would like to paint them. The seat is the original seat with the Ducati symbol or name stenciled into the back of the seat. There's a few marks on it, and I think the bike's going to be that nice. You couldn't really reuse that seat, so we might do something a bit different there. Now, you can see here that this bike this tank was originally the blue colour. This tank is actually in fairly good condition by the looks of it. There's a little bit of surface rust on the inside, but I do believe that it's going to be okay. The process, we do tank liners here as well, but there's a few different processes to clean the tank out to get the surface rust off. There's like an electrolysis thing I've seen, which I haven't never really done. But with a tank liner kit that you get, you can use acid and whatnot to clean it out, but it's got to be done right. So watch your space with this. But the tank overall, I mean, it could be full of bog, I don't know, but I don't think so. So we'll look at that, rub that back, and just see what the condition is like. But I think it's going to be pretty good. Okay, so you've got a bit of a clue or an idea where we want to go with this bike. You know, the options of colours, wheels, and whatnot, powder coating, paint. Now, feel free to let us know what you think. The painting and the powder coating we need to outsource, so we can, if you get in quick and let us know what you think. If it's overwhelming opinions, we'll probably go that way, and we need to outsource that stuff. Everything else we can pretty much do in-house with vapor blasting, building cranks, the whole lot. So next episode, we're probably going to pull the engine apart, and that'll be really interesting for you technophobes out there. Well, not technophobes, technophiles. That's a better word, isn't it? So for the people who'd like to look inside and find out what you're likely to find inside a bevel engine, because you're likely to find a lot of nightmares, trust me. So with a bike that's been neglected. So like and subscribe, please. Follow us, Instagram, Facebook, all those things, and we'll keep this going.